Alright, now we get into the second smallest of my collections, and that is my PlayStation 1 collection. So, with this first one, it's kind of an interesting one. It's, not Destroy All Humans 2, but it's actually Forsaken. And I only have the disc of this, and it just came in, PlayStation 2 GameStop case for some reason. I got it for $1 at a flea market type of place, and, yeah, this seems to be in alright condition. Game seems to work fine. Yeah, if you're not aware of what Forsaken is, it's, can't exactly blame you, especially if you go on cover alone, because the cover to this game is just like, what? You know, what does it have to do with the game? But essentially, Forsaken is like Descent on PlayStation 1. It's a Descent clone, you know, but it's a good Descent clone. You know, if you played the classic first-person shooter type of game, Descent, you know, way back in the day on PC, you know, Forsaken on PS1 is not a bad clone. So if you're in Descent games, you should probably consider checking this one out too. And we got a few more disc-only PlayStation 1 games here, as well as a few sort of more questionable ones in my collection as to whether or not I'll keep those versions or not. But got Crash Bandicoot 1 on disc only, and I know this says like a different game, but this is just a, you know, random disc sleeve I had laying around that I could just put this game in, so I just, you know, put it in. But, you know, Crash Bandicoot 1, it's not a bad game. You know, the other Crash Bandicoot games are probably much better. This one I think is just okay. It doesn't really do much anything for me. You know, this isn't something from my childhood. This is something I got and played fairly recently, so there's no nostalgia with this one really. So it's not blinding me at all. It's just, it's okay, you know. It has its faults. It's semi-aged a bit, but you know, I mean, it's still overall a fun, enjoyable little platformer. And I suppose to check it out, even though the Insane Trilogy's coming out pretty soon, which that'll blow this one out of the water, you know. And on to my other Crash game, which is Crash Bandicoot Warped. Also only have disc only, and I got it from Funko Land. Probably one of the only Funko Land games I got before it went defunct, or the one near me where I live closed down or whatever. But yeah, I played this game a while back as a kid. Really enjoyed it. I haven't played it recently, so I'm not really sure how much I like it today, and if I really like it better than the first one. I'm pretty sure I would. Yeah, this was a really fun game back in the day, and first introduction to Crash Bandicoot, and made me fall in love with the series a bit. And now we have Gex 3, the cover Gecko, which it's complete, and it has, you know, all the stuff to it, but the only problem I have with this version is that it's broken. The jewel case part's broken. So, you know, with this version, I could, you know, I suppose for the most part I could keep it, you know, because it's like this all together on a shelf. It doesn't look bad, like there's anything wrong with it. You know, it's just more of a, I suppose, a nitpicky thing, you know, just for wanting this thing to, like, open and close properly. But, yeah, I might just get a better case for this game one day, or I might just stick with this one, but at least for now, I own Gex 3, you know, got the manual, of course, and we got the game. Now, the Gex games is probably, this might be my favorite of the series. I don't know, I kind of bounce back and forth between Gex 3 and Gex Enter the Gecko, but, yeah, it's definitely a fun little 3D platformer, and I think at least presentation-wise it's a lot better than the previous ones. I'm not even talking about like graphics or anything, I just mean like the overall feel and how everything is presented and things like that. I think it's just achieved a lot better in this game, and I think it more closely actually achieves what it sets out to be, more of a, you know, parody sort of video game and stuff like that. But yeah, also comes with a couple demos for other games, Legacy of Kain and Warzone 2100, as well as I think Akuji the Heartless is also on here, a demo for that, which is a really interesting little game, you know. From the demo that I played, I'll have to probably check that game out at some point. And this next one is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, but there's no game. It's just the manual and the case, and all in pretty good condition though. Why do I only own the case and the manual? Well, I got it for free from this thrift store type of place. You know, guy just kind of gave it to me, and you know, I kind of wanted it because, you know, it's in good condition and stuff, and all I had to do, you know, is just buy the disc and put it in there, and, you know, it's complete. Because at the time I thought I'd be like wanting to like keep this version, you know, but then I learned of the Pro Skater 2X on the original Xbox, which is, you know, this game but a whole lot better. You know, you got improved graphics, you got additional content and stuff like that, so I might keep this one, might not. I mean, I probably would, you know, because I mean, you know, this is all in pretty good condition and stuff, and it'd be interesting to compare the two between each other, you know, the original to 2X, and yeah, I like the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games. I haven't played Pro Skater 2 yet because I don't have the disc, and I never played it at a friend's house or anything like that, but I played Pro Skater 3, 4, Underground, and American Wasteland, and I also own Underground 2, which I plan to play that one at some point. Oh, and I've also played some of the non-Pro Skater, well, my bad, American Wasteland and Underground technically aren't Pro Skater games, but what I mean is none of the Tony Hawks with the apostrophe S games, like Tony Hawk Ride, well, not Ride, my god, I'm fucking up really bad right now, I'm sorry. Tony Hawk Shred, I've played that game, you know, I've played that as well, which that's not all that good, but we'll get to that in a Wii video, I guess. But yeah, that's all I really have to say regarding this thing. One day I'll own the disc of this, one day. And now we really start to get into my PlayStation 1 collection. And starting it off, we have Ape Escape 1. A pretty fun little PlayStation game right here. It's definitely very unique and utilizes both DualShock, both analog sticks on DualShock controllers. So you definitely need a DualShock controller for this. You can't just use the PlayStation controller, it just only has a D-pad, which I don't know why you really want to, for most games I guess. But yeah, it's a very unique, interesting little 3D platformer. You go around capturing all these different apes that have escaped, no pun intended. And yeah, I've got this game in fairly good condition. Although someone has their name written on it, I'm just gonna cover it so I'm not fucking doxing them or something, you know. And you know, you got the manual there, and it's also in pretty good condition in the case. Yeah. Overall, pretty good little PlayStation 1 game. I'd really like to try out the other Ape Escape games, like Ape Escape 2 and 3, and maybe even the Japanese exclusive ones if I could ever get a hold of those. But yeah, I look forward to playing more from this series. And then next we have Fear Effect 2, which I don't own the first Fear Effect, obviously, which is why I'm showing this one first, but I'd really like to own the first one. I have yet to play this one as well, even though apparently from what I've learned this takes place before Fear Effect 1, I'm pretty sure. But you know, I kind of just like to have Fear Effect 1 so I can kind of play them both back to back, you know, kind of binge the whole series. And maybe, you know, maybe try and hold out for the new one, Fear Effect Sedna, which is sort of a spin-off type of thing, but it takes place in between these games or something. So I might just, you know, hold out till I get Sedna as well, so I can play all three games in one sort of succession, because that's something I generally like to do. But yeah, the game itself, it's also in fairly good condition, although it's got some sticky sticker residue to it. But you got a game disc there, you got the manual here, and you got to open up the other side, and you got the other discs. So yeah, and they're all in pretty good condition. I think they're supposed to be 4 discs. Where's the other one? I know it's in here somewhere. I think it's underneath the manual? Yeah, it's underneath the manual, that's what I thought. Yeah, interesting PlayStation 1 series from what I've heard. It's like a Resident Evil style game, but with the women main character, and it's got a unique little art style. And this PS1 copy is kind of interesting for the fact that it's sort of double layered jewel case. I don't know if that's what it's called, but you know, it's got two sides to it. It comes on several discs, 4 discs in total. And yeah, I look forward to getting into this series one day as well. Now we're going to get back into the Gex games, and I'm going to start off with Gex 1, the long box version. I got this for 15 bucks, I think, or 12, something like that. I got a fairly good deal on it. You know, if there's one version of Gex 1 I'd get, it'd probably be, you know, the more collectible version, which this one definitely is. And you know, it's in pretty good condition. I mean, there's some creases and stuff on the cardboard part, but I mean, that's kind of to be expected with an old game like this, so I'm not really complaining all that much. But on the inside, you know, everything else is fine. You got a manual here, which is pretty big and in pretty good condition. It's even got advertisements for other games on here, like Blade of Dragons, Legacy of Kain. Disc is also in good condition, and yeah, it's a pretty cool little collector's item, I suppose. As for the game itself, it's okay in my opinion. The 3D platforming games are definitely way better than this one, to me. This one, I mean, this game went through development hell, and honestly it kind of shows from the final game, which, you know, still turned out fine for the most part, but not as good as it probably could have been. You know, it has its flaws, it's not perfect, and, you know, I mean, most of the levels aren't really memorable and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, it's definitely not a bad little PlayStation 1 platformer. So if you're into 2D platformers, maybe you want to, you know, check this one out. Or if you're into the Gex series and want to see where it all began, you know, consider picking this game up. And the final Gex game that I have is Gex Enter the Gecko. It's also in a pretty good condition. It's got the game disc manual and all that jazz. Like I said with Gex 3, I bounced between this one and that one as to which one's my favorite. The reason why this one might be one of my favorites is because this one's kind of more platformy. You know, there's more platforming to it than Gex 3, which kind of leaves me to wonder, you know, if I'd like this one better. Plus, I think there's more levels in this one too. So, but the thing about Gex 3 is that the, you know, overall the presentation's a lot better. It just seems a bit more better designed, I guess, and you know, the whole costume thing doesn't seem like a last-minute gimmick like it is in this game. It actually kind of means something X3, and it's just, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. I just kind of unsure which one's my favorite, but regardless, this is a fun little 3D platformer on PlayStation 1, very reminiscent of Super Mario 64. Matter of fact, a lot of reviewers and people at the time consider it like a Super Mario 64 clone and shit like that. But regardless, if it's similar in gameplay to a game like that, it's still fun on its own, and probably check it out. Next up, Metal Gear VR missions. Sadly, don't have the manual for this one, which normally if I were to get, you know, PlayStation 1 games, I would get the manual, but I don't know, in this one case I was like, this is an exception, you know. I paid $7 for this on website 99 Gamers before it went defunct, and yeah, it's in pretty good condition. Although I have yet to actually like test it out or anything, or really play it. But yeah, this is the only Metal Gear game I own on PlayStation 1. I don't have the original Metal Gear game yet, but I hope to get it one day and, you know, play that as well. But till then, I've got the VR Missions one, which I can also play, you know, either after playing Metal Gear Solid 1, or just, you know, when I feel like playing this game, I guess. So yeah, if you're really into Metal Gear games and would like some more content from that series, you know, you should consider looking into this game, Metal Gear Solid VR Missions. Namco Museum Volume 3. Interesting little collection of Namco games. Apparently with all these different volumes, they spell out a different letter in Namco. Volume 3 has the M, and Volume 1 and 2 would have N and then A respectively, and then, you know, C and O for 4 and 5. But I only have Volume 3. And the games on here include Pole Position 2, Fozon, Tower, Juaga, Galaxian, Miss Pac-Man, Dig Dug, and a bunch of other games like that. And when you open it up, you got the manual and the disc, obviously, but you also got this little tiny hint book for a Tower Juaga. It's kind of interesting, and also shows off the other volumes and how the whole, you know, lettering thing is, like I said before. Yeah, it's an interesting little part of a volume series, but to be honest with you, there's probably a bunch of other Namco museum collection type of games that are way better than this one, and all the whole series of these things. You know, at least I assume so. I could be wrong, but pretty sure there's better collections out there than this 5-volume series. But yeah, if you like classic Namco games, you probably like this mashup as well. And perhaps one of my favorite PlayStation 1 games, at least at the moment, it's Oddworld, Abe's Exodus, which, you know, I surprisingly got this very close from where I live. I actually got this a couple miles down the road at a flea market type of place for $2, which is a really good price, even despite of the condition, which, you know, it's good condition for the most part, but there are like these cracks in the front and the small crack in the back in the jewel case, but you know, that's kind of whatever to me, honestly. And then, but the rest of it, it's all in pretty good condition. You got the manual there, and then you got the 2 discs and stuff, and they're also not that bad condition. Both games work fine. And yeah, got a pretty good deal on a pretty great game, so that's always awesome. And if you're into cinematic platformers or sort of puzzle type of games and more cinematic type of games, you know, you should definitely consider looking up this game, because this is pretty cool game. Huberts. Another game I only own the disc to. Not much I can really say about this. It's Hubert on PlayStation 1. Apparently my mom really loved Hubert or something. That's why we have it, I guess. I don't know. I don't remember ever asking this as a kid, but we have it, so, you know, I guess that's cool. You know, if you like Hubert, I guess you might like this game, but, you know, I've played a little bit. I like Hubert a little bit, but, yeah. Next is a game I kind of like, but hate at the same time, and that's Rayman 1. I like it for the fact that it's, you know, it's got a nice art style, and, you know, for the most part, I'd say it's a good game from what I've played, but the reason I hate it is just it's so freaking hard, like, holy cow. You know, I kept playing this game as a kid, you know, and I noticed I never get that far, and I never knew why, so a couple years back recently, you know, I decided to, you know, try and play this game, because I didn't think, you know, it'd be that hard or anything. I don't know, I didn't know why. I just kept stopping at, like, World 2 and never progressing from there. And I quickly found out why. This game, you know, the first world is okay, you know, it's very, you know, it's not too easy, but it's not too difficult. At the same time, just kind of middle of the road. But once you get to World 2, difficulty gets cranked up to 11, man. Like, it goes from that to, like, really hard, really fast. It's, like, insane, the difficulty spike from just one world to the next, you know? I mean, I can understand just for, like, World 1 all the way to, like, the final world, you know? But this is just World 2. This is hard. And one kind of fucked up thing about this game is that even in order just to fight the final boss, you gotta collect all these little, I forget what they're called. I won't say lums or something, but they're just these little pink things that you gotta rescue from cages and stuff. You gotta rescue all of them in every level in the game. Essentially, you have to 100% complete this game just to fight the final boss to beat this game, which I think is just kind of bullshit, considering it's just hard enough trying to get through the game, you know, normally, just get through the levels normally at this difficulty. But then I looked up that apparently there are cheat codes where you can unlock all the lums in the game, so, you know, on that note, I might go back and, you know, play this game again. and actually try and beat it, you know. But I won't just like use the cheat code and skip to the boss fight and fight the boss or whatever, you know. I will play through the whole game, you know, but I'm not gonna try and collect all those thumbs and shit. I'm just gonna play through each level until I play through all of them and then fight the boss and then, you know, essentially beat it. And yeah, one day I'll return to this game, but right now I don't feel in the mood for playing a really rage-inducing game. Spider-Man 2000. Game that I don't own the original case to, but I do have the manual and the disc, so that's good at least. You know, I know the official title is kind of Spider-Man, but everyone refers to it as Spider-Man 2000 because, you know, it's when it came out. But definitely a fun little superhero game on PlayStation 1. You know, it's a fun sort of action-adventure style of game, you know, it's broken up into levels and stuff, and combat's kind of fun, and yeah, it's overall just a fun little Spider-Man game. So if you like Spider-Man, definitely check this one out, and maybe the sequel, because I recently learned there's a sequel to this game. You know, I have to check that one out too as well. And now we get into probably my favorite series on the PlayStation 1, and that's Spyro series. Got Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year the Dragon. So Spyro the Dragon, I sadly don't own the manual to this game, but I own the disc and the jewel case, and they're both in good condition. But you know, definitely a good game. At one point, this was my favorite Spyro game, but that was later taken by Spyro 3. Reason this was my favorite one at one point is because I was so used to playing these other two games, and I was so used to the formula of them that you know, this one felt a whole lot different from the other two, and for that reason I kind of liked it better. But you know, after recently playing the games over again and, you know, reanalyzing the games and stuff, and, you know, kind of coming to the terms of the fact that, you know, it was kind of a personal problem for me from playing these games so much, and just because I'm so used to the formula of these games doesn't mean that, you know, they're bad or this one's better or whatever. Not that I think these games are bad, you know, mind you, just kind of clarify, it's just, you know, I shouldn't think these are worse than like this one, you know, just because I'm used to them and not this one all that much. But anyways, regardless, it's still a good PlayStation 1 game, a must-own on the PlayStation 1 series, and yeah, you should definitely check it out. And Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage, sadly own only a disc on this one, but definitely have to get complete one day. And it's my second favorite in the series. You know, it just falls short of being my favorite. You know, it just falls short of Year the Dragon. But you know, regardless, there's still some elements in this game that I love that aren't in Year the Dragon, which is why I always appreciate this game too. You know, stuff like cutscenes playing before you enter a level, kind of showing you what the problem is, and then when you leave that level, after, you know, completing it, shows a cutscene of how you essentially fixed that world. And yeah, it was a nice little touch for each world, and kind of, you know, kind of gave you a better summation of, you know, exactly what's going on. And also, especially when you left the level and you got the ending cutscene, it really gave you a sense of accomplishment, like you really did fix the level or fix that world and stuff, you know. It made you feel like you really did something, you know. And also there's some levels in here that are in this game that aren't in Year the Dragon I really like probably my favorite level in this one is Zephyr, which, you know, just pretty cool level overall. I'm not really sure why I like that the best. I guess it's just because, you know, the whole environment and the whole aspect of it, like it's a war going on or something like that, you know, it just kind of intrigues me, I guess. But yeah, really good PlayStation 1 game as well. You should definitely get this one. Oh, and one thing I should probably say is that, you know, if this is your favorite Spyro game, I can definitely understand, you know. There are definitely, you know, elements of this game that I enjoy as well that aren't in the third game, so, you know, I definitely understand, but to me personally, overall, I do have to say that Year the Dragon is better. And finally, we got Year the Dragon. which strangely enough, I own the collector's edition version of it, which for those of you that don't know, that around the year that I think this game was released, there was this box set that Sony put out, which was a Spyro Collector's Edition box set. It was a big box that, you know, said Spyro Collector's Edition on it, and it came with all 3 games inside, you know, just 3 individual jewel cases that you can pull out. And each jewel case, the manual up top said Collector's Edition and even had a white PlayStation label. And even on the disc it says Collector's Edition, so yeah, these are the more collectible versions of the Spyro games. So if you're a hardcore fan of Spyro games like I am, you probably want to get that box set. I'll definitely try to get it at some point, you know, especially to put it with this, put this with the other games, you know, kind of complete it out. But yeah, Spyro the Dragon is my favorite one of them all, even though, you know, arguably it has the whole thing of you playing as different characters, which some people, you know, kind of are iffy about that when it comes to that, and it's kind of the reason why they prefer Spyro 2, because you don't have to play as other characters. But in my personal opinion, to be honest with you, well, they don't really add a whole lot to the game. Like, they don't really improve it just being in there. They don't really take anything away from it. Like, most of their sections are pretty solid, you know. Probably the worst of the bunch is probably Bentley's, though, because his sections are always really boring. Like, probably could have done without Bentley, you know. But everyone else, you know, is not that bad. Sheila is probably the best overall, although she plays very similar to Spyro in one aspect. And, you know, Agent 9 is a pretty decent third-person shooter. And, you know, it really shows Insomniac's origins of when they were eventually start making the Ratchet and Clank series. So that's interesting for that aspect alone. And, you know, Sergeant Bird's also a pretty interesting one. You can fly forever and shoot missiles out your little shoulder things. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, overall, I'll just say that this is my favorite one of the series. It's just really fantastic game, and you should definitely get this one, and really just all of the games in the series. You should really play this whole series. It's a whole lot of fun. You know, I definitely recommend it. And finally, we have Tomb Raider. It's got it in good condition. Got the manual and disc and everything. No cracks in jewel case or anything. Paid $6 for this on 99 Gamers before it went defunct, of course. God, it's not like I said defunct. But anyways, the reason I got this game was because A, it was really cheap, and around the time that I got it, I think it was valued around $30 complete. So I figured it was a pretty good deal on this. And I kind of wanted to like get the Tomb Raider games and start playing them, and so that's why I got this one. And it was also in good condition too, so yeah, that's also why I got it. Because sometimes it's kind of hard to find PlayStation 1 games in good condition, you know, unless you're like at a, I guess, a retro store or something like that. But you know, I have yet to play it, and I don't know if I'll play it anytime soon or not. I'm not exactly sure if I guess I'm kind of holding out to get the other Tomb Raider games, the, you know, the more classic Tomb Raider games, to play alongside this one. Although at the same time, I learned after getting this game that apparently Tomb Raider Anniversary is a remake of this one, and it's a whole lot better than this one, like gameplay-wise and even graphics and stuff like that. So I don't know if I really want to play this one now that apparently there's a remake that's a whole lot better, because I'd honestly rather play that than this one, because I know this one is like tank controls, you know, similar to Resident Evil with their movement and stuff. But at the same time, you know, I didn't pay a lot for this, and it's in good condition, and it's sort of a collector's item on the PlayStation 1, so I might just keep it. You know, I might maybe one day sell it, but yeah. Maybe one day I'll play it, maybe not, who knows. And that is it for the PlayStation 1 portion of my collection. I hope you enjoyed this video as well, and please stay tuned because there are still more videos to come.